case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
Well, it's very, homey.
What? Are you kidding? We got us a family here.
I hope you realize how you hurt my feelings.
I'm afraid you're just too darn loud. Next please.
Just take it easy, man.
I'm perfectly confident.
Yeah, waving the fucking gun around?
Calmer nuance.
Look, I made a mistake, all right? It didn't make any difference anyway.
Hey, I'm letting it go. But don't say it doesn't matter. Every line matters.
Get off my back!
Don't fuck my plane!
And like that, he's gone.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Our Thread podcast, bringing our content to you, featuring All It Is.
It's official, old buddy. Who has been.
Beware.
From then on, he was known as Benny the Jet Rodriguez.
The Doc.
You're the doc, Doc.
The Cap.
Oh, if you already know the answers to your questions, then why ask? Big fuck!
And myself, Savage.
I'm 6'5", 220, and there's two of them.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Our Thread, the podcast. Now, it's a fact that everybody has a podcast these days, but this is the first podcast that's all about podcasts. No, folks, I'm just joking, and that probably already exists. This podcast is just a bunch of dudes that grew up together, bringing our content to you. Today, I'm here with Beware, the Doc, Cap, and Savage, and myself, All It Is. For our episode tonight, episode 0, we are discussing our favorite movies. But even more than that, we're coming together to find out what we think is the best movie of all time, folks. How will we do this? We'll do this with the 64 movie bracket that will put movies up against each other. And each thread member will be able to discuss, debate, and then vote on which they want to continue to the next round as the best movie. But before we get started, a special shout out to tonight's sponsor, WWE Ice Cream Bars. Yes, folks, they're back and they're coming to an ice cream truck near you. Now we're ready to start the episode off. So let's get it started, and I'm going to bring on the Doc to tell us how we got started. The Doc is in, folks. Let's go.
What's up, All It Is? Thanks, man. Actually, before we kind of dive into all that, I kind of just want to open it up. This is our first podcast. How's everybody feeling about this? I do actually, some people do have some podcast experience on the crew right now, but how's everybody feeling?
This is Cap here. I'm pretty nervous. I'll tell you the truth.
Cap, you're the captain. You gotta control the ship. Why you nervous?
You gotta steer this thing, dude. You gotta steer it.
I don't know what to say. Your captain is pissing his pants right now.
Wow. Oh, Captain, my captain. Hey, we'll carry you through this, buddy boy.
Yeah, this is Beware as I sit here eating a WWE ice cream bar. I get really excited about this upcoming podcast series that we're about to venture into. I think we're going to have a lot of exciting matchups. And Cap, I think, it's going to be all right. I think it's all going to come together in the end, and we're really going to, see this out to success.
Well, you guys are really, really easing my fears, so I'm getting a little bit more comfortable.
Need you.
You're the Captain.
Well, on that front, I will, as All It Is, pass it on to me to kind of introduce and just kind of describe how this came to be. Because I know a lot of you guys might be out there tuning in saying, oh, best movies of all time, bracket, let's do this. But there are some caveats to that. So a couple things. This started off on Twitter, actually. I think All It Is, or Beware started it out. But started asking, each of us, what's your favorite movies, top movies? What are the best movies? And so we started kind of shooting out lists of 3, 4, 5. And before we knew it, it kind of started growing exponentially. And these are movies that are kind of our favorites, our generational movies that kind of make up this list. One of the things that we did decide to exclude, at least for this initial kind of series, are things that are pure comedies. Although for me personally, comedies are some of my top movies. We decided that, it wouldn't be fair to, match up Dumb and Dumber against something along the lines of Deer Hunter. It's hard to kind of weigh those together. So we decided for this initial series, let's talk about the best movies in our opinion. So from that, we created a list of about 64, a little bit over that. put all those names into a hat, literally pulled them out of a hat. And instead of doing these kind of pure seedings of, 4 number ones like you would a typical bracket, we just kind of randomly pulled them out. So the matchups that Savage is about to go over are literally just by chance, and some of them are great. And so I'm excited to kind of go for that. But it is purely chance. Some of them seem a little lopsided. Some of them seem unfair, at least for the initial round. And so I'm excited to talk about that. And well, as we kind of go through this initial episode, we'll talk about how we're going to vote. What are some other things we're going to talk about, characteristics about the movies. But yeah, I think I've been talking way too long, and I think it's time to get to that bracket.
Hey, thanks a lot, Doc. So here's what we got. We have a bunch of really good matchups, and they were all pulled out from a hat. So these are 100% coincidental. The number one matchup that we have, the first one, leading off the Scorsese region, is going to be The Departed versus Goodfellas. Now, this matchup, all the other matchups, was completely random. I can't stress that enough. So what are the chances of two of Scorsese's arguably best films going back to back against each other? Crazy. Anywho,
you gotta be kidding me.
Yep, The Departed versus Goodfellas. Good Will Hunting versus the Royal Tenenbaums. I like that.
Character
Pulp
driven,
Fiction.
like it.
Pulp Fiction versus Birdman. The Truman Show versus Arrival. Holy smoking Toledo. No Country for Old Men versus Swingers. That should be kind of a blowout, but we'll see.
Blowout.
Training Day versus City of God. City of God, one of the few, I think one of two non-English speaking films on our list. We also have The Usual Suspects versus Rushmore. That's man, you're getting my my high school days really kind of sucked in right there. I love it. We got Zodiac versus Raising Arizona. Then down to the Francis Ford Coppola region, we have two big heavy hitters going up against each other: Godfather and True Romance. That's going to be something else. That's going to be a lot of really heavy debate. And then after that, we're looking at The Deer Hunter versus The Shining. Holy smokerinos. Then we got Fight Club versus Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. And then we have Fight Club, Inglourious Bastards versus Whiplash. I think it's going to be a difficult one. Also, fun fact, these two movies are probably two of the most recent movies that Beware has seen. So that's going to be a really, really good homework episode for Beware. He's going to have some real fresh eyes on arguably two of the best movies on this list.
Yeah, Will, there's a couple movies, real quick to interrupt, sorry. There's a couple movies that you've mentioned already that actually I haven't seen in forever. One of them I haven't seen at all. And so I think throughout this, too, it's going to be a good opportunity for us to maybe refresh on some of these movies and view it through a different light maybe, or a different lens, being a little bit older. What do you think about that, Savage?
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing about this list. There aren't any bad movies on it. That's the best part. So you know that we're having, this list had to get vetted. So if the movie's on the list, at least 3 people in the thread would agree that this movie deserves to be on that list. We are very, very democratic here on the thread. I mean, our thread.
Does anybody remember one that didn't make the cut that was kind of a close call?
I had a few that got cut. I remember thinking.
Talk about it, Kat.
I remember thinking The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo was good enough to be on the list, and the war movie Fury got cut. But it is democratic. So
this is Beware. I was disappointed. We went back and forth on this one quite a bit. I was disappointed when Phone Booth didn't get added to the list.
That's not true.
And I think that's just a really good classic movie from the mid-2000 era.
Don't bring up old rivalries between the two of us that doesn't have anything to do with this podcast.
Oh, that's going to get a whole episode. Phone Booth gets an episode, folks. See you.
Can you remind me, with Phone Booth, who was in that again?
Farrell, vintage Farrell.
Colin Farrell. Spoiler alert, don't see that movie because it sucks.
You son of a... No, I wanted to see Indiana Jones. Personally, I like Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade most, but we decided against sequels and any movies with sequels. I think maybe there's like 1 or 2 exceptions because they're like the originals.
The one movie, Jurassic Park was the one that kind of got on there that didn't seem. It's more like that Indiana Jones kind of feel.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's a good one to make the list.
Yeah.
Groundbreaking special effects. I'm personally really excited to talk about. I think a matchup is pretty late in the game, but I think it's Little Miss Sunshine versus Menace to Society. I think is a
Savage. Can you confirm that?
Yeah, that's going to be that's actually the next one on my list is the Menace to Society versus Little Miss Sunshine. One of the I would say one of the more standout contests that we'll be having in the first round of this tournament. I'm really excited to see where that goes. I'm going to continue down the list a little bit. So we still have to finish out the Coppola region. We're going to look at 3 billboards. I think it's the full name of the movie is 3 billboards from outside Ebbing, Missouri, or something.
Correct.
Along the lines of Ebbing, Missouri. Okay. Versus one of my top 5 favorite films of all time, The Social Network. Love that movie, everything about it. Then we have The Wolf of Wall Street versus Django Unchained. Those are 2 powerhouse movies that came out around the same time. The Scorsese versus the Tarantino. Speaking of Tarantino, to round out the Coppola region is going to be Once Upon a Time in Hollywood versus American Beauty. It doesn't get much better than those 2 movies.
Wow, folks, that is some random but fabulous matchups.
Something that I'm really excited about is the fact that the list that Will just went through is only half of the bracket, and we have a whole other half of the bracket to go through. And that to me is exciting that we have so many great matchups and great movies. And I kind of want to maybe highlight some of those real quick too for our listeners, so they can kind of get a taste of what's coming up.
Glad you mentioned that, Doc. So to round out, so we're going to start off with in the top right. If you're looking at traditional bracket, we're going to see the Paul Thomas Anderson division is going to start off with Magnolia and There Will Be Blood. Wow, 2 phenomenal. 2 of I can't say enough about either of those movies. The next one is going to be Almost Famous versus Casino. Great movies there. American History X versus Forrest Gump. We're going to get a little American history lesson with these 2, I'm sure. We're going to have Hell or High Water versus Requiem for a Dream. Man, there's a lot of good movies on this list. It's hard to really it's hard for me to see who's actually end up winning. Surprised if any one of these movies made it to the final.
Love that.
And end up winning. So I'm really excited about that. Next off, we have Shawshank Redemption versus Big Lebowski. That's a tough draw. I don't know. I don't know. That'll be a fun episode because I think there might be some friendships lost throughout that.
There's a lot to discuss there.
Oh yeah.
Nah.
Speaking of a lot to discuss, Goodbye Horses comes at you right here with Silence of the Lambs versus Apocalypse Now. I don't even know what's going to happen. I'm going to feel like Marlon Brando at the end of that movie. I'll tell you that much. It'd be good. Inception versus Boys in the Hood. What's going to happen in that? They're going to tip over in a chair and maybe rob a liquor store at the same time. You never know. And then after that, we're going to look at 12 Monkeys versus Jurassic Park. Man, that's a battle of some 90s juggernaut movies. Obviously, Jurassic Park. 65 million years in the making, they say, for Jurassic Park, and 12 Monkeys. Well, Baker's dozen, let's make it 13. Now, so now next we're gonna take a look at the Coen brothers region. We have Interstellar going against Fargo, 7 up against Donnie Darko. Oh, that's a real. I can't wait to show my kids those movies. Next, speaking of kids movies, we have Saving Private Ryan goes against Revenant. A war on D-Day and a bear eating someone from the back. Okay, that works for me. And then we have Mystic River versus Taxi Driver. This is the uplifting region. Then we're going to go over to Braveheart versus Parasite. Holy shit, how did that happen?
A newbie.
Yeah, that should be something. Heat versus Memento. There's a lot of confusion going on there. I'm expecting one of those movies. And then we have The Prestige versus American Psycho. Talking about uplifting. And then Old Boy versus Gladiator. Man, there are some great movies on this list. How are we going to figure this out? Shit.
There's a lot of blood and death and despair.
I was going to say, now we've introduced, all the movies and talking about voting and who's going to make it, like, how are we going to vote and how's that going to go down?
I'll tell you how it's going to go down, folks. Each member gets a vote. And we do have some exciting twists and turns. I don't want to definitely give everybody all the names and gimmicks tonight, but we have some things that we're gonna throw at you to maybe make these votes a little interesting as far as, we'll just give them a hint, some lifelines, if you will. But when it comes down to it, your vote's your vote.
Some of the things, we haven't confirmed it yet, but I think some of the fun ideas that we were talking about would be a phone a friend option, or something equivalent to a Rochambeau or flip of a coin that would take the emotions out of it and leave it up to pure chance after both sides have, battled for their victor. I think it's only fair to then just kind of put it up to chance. But we'll figure that out, and we'll work that through a little bit more before we decide actually on what those procedures will be.
Yeah, we're freestyling a bit, aren't we, folks? Just going with the flow, if you will. Do we have a good idea what we're getting into? Because I'm excited. I don't know if we're going to hit you up over the head with one of these a week or not, but we are excited to get into it. And does anybody have any final thoughts for just signing out, or anything? Who's going to be doing their homework out there? Who hasn't seen what? Maybe
I haven't seen Revenant, and I haven't.
Wow.
That is not true. The Revenant, the first Leo award-winning movie.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Wow.
And not my favorite Leo movie. I'll say that.
Yeah, I recently just watched Parasite within the past few days, so I have a lot to say about that one. So I'm looking forward to that episode.
Best movie of 2020, Beware?
I wouldn't say so personally. I can see why it was highly.
I'll second that.
But I think there's another movie on our list even that I liked that came out last year that better than that one specifically.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, folks. I know we can agree upon that. At least a few of us.
Yeah, I'm excited though. I'm excited to get into it for sure.
Doc?
I'm so excited just to have an excuse to watch some good movies and hang out with some good friends. And
you always were good at your homework, Doc. I got to say that. You always were good at your homework.
I am excited. I am excited to drop some trivia bombs on y'all. And
this man does his research, folks.
But we'll see. We'll make it fun, and I hope to become stronger friends with all of you as a result, rather than being enemies for taking stances on. I
agree. I think all four of us can become a little closer. And you know what? Another big reason we started this, just to chime in and let people know, is hey, we're all missing our good friends here. Like we said, we grew up together, but this quarantine life has got us dealing with different situations. That's why everybody's on Zoom these days, as we are tonight. So I just got to say a big shout out to my friends, and hopefully if anybody's listening, they can think the same thing, because you're on our thread now, and we're bringing our content to you. So welcome to the thread, ladies and gentlemen.
Well said.
Yep, well said.
Yeah, great.
Stay tuned. We'll have some funny things to say, have some interesting commentary, some titillating banter, and yeah, it'll be a good time.
I agree. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in tonight. Even if it's just ones or twos or threesies, we appreciate it. You know, holy shitski, folks, we're doing something. We're out here. We're doing something that we love. We're talking about movies. And hey, if we didn't mention, this is not always going to be about movies. But folks, we got 64 to get into. So it's going to be about movies for a little bit. What's your favorite movie? Why don't you leave a comment? Tell us. Maybe one day you'll be voting with the thread. Maybe one day you'll join the thread. I don't know, folks. I just know that I had a good time with my friends and you tonight. And we will see you soon. Signing off from our thread, all it is. See you soon, folks.
Peace.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Just take it easy, man.
I'm perfectly confident.